Peace and Yah bless. Yah's a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's the tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, I'm going to talk about building code. Building code. All right? Now, as we get ready to travel back to the Holy Land, the way they built things over there is not totally, I would say, according to the standard law of the Torah. Okay? Not according to the standard law and protocol of the Torah. Now, the first thing you're going to say is, okay, Zechariah, why are you saying that? Okay? Well, I'm saying that because women have to have their own separate quarters whenever they are on their menstrual cycle. A very important fact. Okay? And I'm going to read that to you again from the Torah, from the book of Leviticus. But very important for a woman to have her own quarters during her menstrual cycle. Okay? Now, if you look right here, this is a pretty big house. It's got 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, or 3 baths. So you probably wonder, well, how many people can actually be or live in this house? Well, since there's 1, 2, 3 bathrooms, and there's 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, well then 3 people. Okay? All right? Because each person is going to have their own separate bedroom and bathroom. Okay? And that's the way you have to build. Because in the land, they build all kind of high-rise apartments and different things like that I've been seeing. When I look at their floor plans are not really conducive to what the Torah is asking us to do, especially when it comes to the woman's uncleanness during her menstrual period. Okay? So let's go away from the schematic for a minute and let's go over to the Torah itself and let's look at the law. Okay, let's examine the law. All right? Now, Leviticus chapter 15. All right? Start at verse number 19. Okay? Now, listen closely. And if a woman have an issue, right, and her issue is in her flesh, be blood, right, talking about her menstrual cycle, right, she shall be put apart 7 days. Okay, that's the ritual. She has to be put apart 7 days, right? And whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening. So if you come in contact with her accidentally, then even you just coming in contact like brush up against her or something while she's on her period, well, then you're unclean until the evening. So you have to, shower and, then you'll be deemed back clean, the following day, okay? Now, and everything that she lieth upon, like a bed or a couch or anything like that, right, in her separation shall be unclean, okay? Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. So I'm going to stop right there, okay? So when a woman's on her menstrual, that means that even though you saw his house had 3 bedrooms, right? Okay? Well, she would have to be quarantined to her bedroom during her menstrual, okay? Because she wouldn't come out into the living room and start sitting on things because it would be unclean, okay? She wouldn't be in the dining room or anything like that cooking anything because she's touching it, like the pots and the pans and the forks and the spoons. She can't do that because it makes everything unclean. And then when the people who are clean, right, okay, the rest of her family come in and they touch those items, well, they become unclean. That's what it's telling you right here. If you touch anything that she touches, you become unclean until the evening. Okay? So that's the ritual. It's a very, very extremely important ritual. Okay? All right? And the same thing applies to childbirth, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Okay? Now, verse 21. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself or herself, right, in water and be unclean until the evening. Okay, because you came in contact with her. Let's say it's a man and he has two other wives, right? Because that's all you can fit in that situation, right? And he has two other wives, okay? Well, he goes into the room of the woman who's on her menstrual cycle, which he shouldn't be doing, but let's just say he did. So if he went in, he just accidentally sat down on her bed, he's automatically deemed unclean before the eyes of God. Okay? So when the Most High sees that, he charges against him, okay? So immediately that man, once that man figures that out, which he should be versed in the Torah and know that, right? He shouldn't be even in her room during her menstrual cycle. During her 7 days, during her 7-day ritual, okay, that she's set apart, like it tells you right here, she's been put apart for 7 days. During her 7 days, really nobody needs to come in contact with that woman. Leave her alone, let her do her thing, let her take time for herself. She doesn't have to be bothered with the family at that time. And she's also really basically excused from her duties, whatever they may be. Okay, if it's like during a festival, like Passover or something like that, where, we go to the temple, well, then she wouldn't go to the temple because she's unclean. Okay? I know that's kind of complicated, but, it just takes some reading and some thinking. It's pretty easy to figure out and facilitate, okay? But let's keep on reading. Okay, 21. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes, right? And bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening, okay? And whosoever touches anything, keyword anything, that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening, right? And if it be on her bed or on anything whereon she sitteth, anything, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening, okay? Verse 24. And if any man lie, right, with her at all, so if he has sex with her at all, right, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you in a little more depth again after I read it. He shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. Okay? All right? Now I'm going to stop at 24. Now, at 24, what it's telling you is he didn't know that she was going to be on her period. They was in there, they started kissing, it got hot and heavy. It's her day. It's her day to, get it on with him, okay, because he got two of the wives, right? Okay. Well, she didn't think about it, kind of forgot about it, but, her period started while they were, doing their sex act, okay? During their sex act, she came on her period, so it wasn't her fault. It was an accident, She just, wasn't thinking about it. He wasn't thinking about it. It got all hot and heavy. They started doing it. Period started, during the time, while they were having intercourse. That's what this verse 24 is explaining about it, okay? Okay? If any man lie with her at all, right? And her flowers be upon him. Okay? See, it says her flowers. Okay? And her flowers be upon him. He shall be unclean. So he's unclean 7 days too. Okay? And all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. Okay? Where he had sex with her at. So unclean because she started her period, while they were having sex, right? So it wasn't done on purpose. Because if a man does it on purpose, he's broken the law. Okay? Just for you gentlemen out there, you never ever have sex with a woman during her menstrual cycle because you become unclean, as it just tells you. Now right here it's just giving the clause telling you if you're having sex with the woman and she didn't know that she was getting ready to start and she ended up starting while you guys are having sex. Well, then he's not just unclean 1 day, he's unclean 7 days. Okay? Just so you guys understand verse number 24 right there, okay, of Leviticus chapter 15. Go read for yourself, right? Okay, now, verse 25. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, right, her normal 7 days, right, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, right, All the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation, she shall be unclean. So if it runs over the 7 days or time period, let's say it runs a couple of days over, well, she'll be unclean those days too. Okay? Verse 26. Every bed whereon she lieth, all days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation. So everything she touches still will be deemed unclean. Okay? And whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, as the uncleanness of her separation, right? And whoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, right? And shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. All right? Let's go to 28. And if she be cleansed of her issue, right, her period, right, then she shall number herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. So you see, after that 7th day, boom, she, it's a 7-day cycle, like a 7-day week, right? At the end of that 7 days, she's deemed clean, right? Then, she has to go through the ritual, come up to the temple, and bring, a certain sacrifice to the temple. Okay, that's what these last 2 verses are talking about. I'll go ahead and read them anyway, so you guys can understand what the ritual and what the rite is all about. Okay, 29. And on the 8th day, because at the 7th day she's deemed, at the 7th day she's deemed clean again, right? Okay, but then, on the 8th day, which is the first day of the next week, right? They call it the 8th day, right? She shall take unto her 2 turtle doves, right, and 2 young pigeons, and bring them unto the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And this is what they did back then, okay? She would just come to the third temple, okay, in the future, okay? And the priest shall offer one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before Yah for the issue of her uncleanness, okay? All right. All right. Very, very extremely important, okay? Then it goes into about the men and all that, okay? So, very important thing to go read, ladies. Leviticus chapter 15, okay? Go read that. Read the whole entire chapter, okay? But in particular, 19 through 30, you want to read that about your period and how to handle that, okay? And why it's handled the way it's handled, okay? Because anytime you're dealing with blood, blood makes things unclean, things like that, okay? That's why in the Torah law it tells you, don't be drinking blood, because people do that. They do things like that, word rituals and stuff, for, to get in certain kinds of groups and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be doing that, man. It make you unclean, man. It's a very uncouth thing to do anyway. All right? Someone asks you to do that, you tell them, no, man, I keep the Torah, man. I don't fool around like that. You know what I mean? If you're trying to get in a certain group or they want you to do a ritual or something, that's an unclean thing. Now you see that, right? Okay? So very important that you guys understand this. When you come in contact with this woman, that if you come in contact, like you walking through the hallway and she's walking through the hallway and you like brush up against her, if she's on her period, you're unclean. So you have to you have to get in the shower, wash your clothes, wait till the evening, and then you're deemed clean again, right? If it happens during a sexual matter, like I said down here in verse number 24, if it happens during a sexual matter, like, y'all just doing it, and you got hot and heavy, y'all start doing it, start having sex, and then she came on her period, while you guys were having sex, and I'm sure everybody's been through that. It's probably happened to a lot of people, right? Then it's 7 days. Instead of 1 day being unclean for the person for the gentleman, right, who came in contact with her on her period, it's 7 days for that gentleman. He's unclean, okay? So I know it's complicated for the, woman who's probably just now hearing this thing, okay? So why am I telling you guys this? Okay, I'm telling you this because when we get back to Israel, a lot of the things that they built over there, they have not built, I'm going to say, to standard Torah code, okay? They built things like what you have over here in America, and they got it built like that, and they're not ever taken into consideration if a man has more than one wife, that obviously you're going to need more than one bathroom or more than 2 bathrooms. That's not enough, okay? As you can see in this house right here, in this schematic, there's a bath right here, there's a bath right here, and there's a bath right here, okay? So for however many people there are, there has to be that amount of bathrooms. For however many people there are, there has to be that amount of bedrooms. So it's 3 people, 3 bedrooms. and 3 bathrooms. Why? Because once that woman's on her menstrual, okay, let's say she's in this bedroom right here, okay, once she's on her menstrual, she basically she hangs out in her bedroom until after her days of separation are over with, okay? She uses her bathroom. She doesn't go out here and use this bathroom or use this bathroom, okay? And really, during her menstrual cycle, her other sister wives, they will cook for her, clean for her. They will take over her duties. Okay? During her menstrual, she's not to be doing anything, touching anything, in the kitchen, cooking, or doing anything of the sort. If she needs some food, we'll make it for her. Okay? We'll cook for her. We cater to her. If it's 2 women at the same time, which does happen, because I've heard that, women get together in one house, even though they don't know each other, their menstrual cycles will lock on to each other. They'll be on cycle at the same time, even though they don't even know each other. Isn't that amazing? But anyway, I would say this situation right here is the minimum situation. Because I'm looking at some of the schematics on their apartments and all that, man. They got 1 bathroom with 3 bedrooms. No, that ain't going to do you no good. Because that woman's going to be on her menstrual cycle during that month. So you can't have a 3 bedroom with 1 bath. Now you got a 3 bedroom with 2 bath. That's only going to be for like a man, and basically always consider the man having his own chambers. And then at a minimum, he'll have 2 wives. Now if he has 1 wife, which will be very rare, but then that's good. Then some of those things will be applicable, but most of them are not going to be. Okay, I'm gonna say this is the minimum layout that we should have inside of a house. So a lot of houses have to be restructured, redone, walls torn down. Okay, things like that. That's why when it comes to our teams, we'll have certain individuals on our teams who have different backgrounds in that particular arena. Okay? That have flipped houses and done things like that. Okay? Because we'll have to go back and correct a lot of structures like that in order to facilitate this as we move forward into the future. Which is showing you the people in the land don't know the book. Because I guarantee you went over there in the land today, the Zionists over there, you went, and I'm not trying to, say nothing bad. I'm just saying you can tell that they don't adhere to the book because their code and their housing code doesn't reflect that. Their housing code reflects that of like what you see in the door to Babylon. Okay? To me, this is the minimum layout. 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. That's a minimum layout. Because let's just say it's just 1 man and 1 woman. Well, during her menstrual cycle, she got to be put apart. So she got to go over to this bedroom instead of being over here with her husband, right? They'll be set apart. And then he'll use this bathroom, and she'll use that bathroom. Now, if he takes on another wife, then she'll take this other room, and she'll use this bathroom. You see what I'm saying? Okay? Very important to get this right. Because I've seen some of the layouts, and they got it all wrong, man. They got it all wrong. They got it just like the daughter of Babylon, man. All right, because of that Isaiah chapter 4 tells you 7 women going to come under 1 man. Right? Saying what? Marry us to take away our shame. So you have to have an awful big house to, to house that amount of wives and think about the bathrooms. Because you got to consider their menstrual. And you see how important it is. It's so important that when their menstrual's over, they still got to bring a sacrifice to the temple and come before the priest to be deemed totally clean and atoned for. See, the priest makes an atonement for her. Okay? Verse 30, and the priest shall offer, let me show what she brings. Okay, 29, right? On the 8th day. So her period didn't run over 7 days, as it tells you right here in proscription in verse 26, right? Okay, just tell you what the proscription is, right? Okay, let's just say it was 7 days, right? Ended up being 7 days even, okay? Well, after the 7 days, she's clean, right? But she has to be deemed clean by the priest. So she'll bring the 2 turtles. not turtle, but turtle doves, a bird, right? 2 turtle doves and 2 young pigeons, and she'll bring them to the priests. In the future, she'll bring them to the third temple. Okay, all right. And when she brings them to, matter of fact, I have a whole system already put in place. Well, she'll be able to go in, over all this great communications that we have these days, digital communications. She'll get on her iPad and she'll schedule an appointment. I'm off my period. Need to be deemed clean. She'll schedule her appointment. She'll, put on her iPad. She'll send it to the priest in charge. The priest in charge already knows she's coming. It'll probably be her and probably 10,000 other women. You know what I mean? So for whoever's, so the temple's going to be a busy place, man. Very busy place. Run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Okay? With different shifts of Levites. But anyway, and different shifts of Zadok. All right? From the high priest line. All right. Then there's priest in charge, okay? Who's in charge and facilitate all these matters to know what woman's coming, what she's coming there for. The temple is used for more than just, the feast days. That's why it's constantly running. Because it's constantly people coming to it. But we're going to know they're coming. They ain't going to be just show up at the door, hey, I'm here. It's not going to work like that. We have, this is a modern day, and the temple will be very extremely modern, okay? All right, like I said, we may even use some AI stuff, holograms and things like that, because I will constantly be in contact with the temple, and they'll constantly be in contact with me. So we may use hologram technology, things like that, where the priest in charge can appear in front of me. We can talk, okay, just kind of like Star Wars, right? For all those things, Star Wars, right? Star Trek, just like that. Talk about some things or whatever we need to talk about, okay? If there's any problems, whatever, I'll go down there and we'll work it out. All right? All right. So, at the 8th day, if you understand this, the 8th day is the first day of the next week, right? There's only 7 days in the week, right? Okay? At that 8th day, she takes the 2 turtle doves and the 2 pigeons and brings those to the third temple. Back during this time, they brought them to the tabernacle, okay? The tabernacle of Moses, okay? That's why it says tabernacle congregation, right? All right, then the priest will take her offering, right, the 2 turtle doves and the 2 pigeons, and he'll go through and do the ritual, with the bird, because the birds have their own separate ritual from the rest of the sin offerings, the burnt offerings, okay? Then he'll put that on the offering for her, and she'll walk out. She's deemed clean, okay? Because remember, guys, Yah, the Holy One of Israel, will be at the third temple. You can't just be a nation and be unclean all the time. Because his presence can't dwell amongst humankind in unclean states like that. We have to make sure we get back clean if we're deemed unclean for any reason, okay? All right? All right. And that goes for the men too. They have their own law, okay? About the seat of their copulation, or what you call their semen. Things like that. All right? There's laws for all these things, okay? Like I said, the Torah is the absolute greatest law in the world. There's nothing that can compare to it. Okay? I'm going to show you guys a few more slides and then we'll be done. Okay? All right, let's look at this right here. Now here's a 4-bedroom flat. Right? You would think, oh, this is a lot of room. Yeah, but there's only, look where they're deficient at. Okay? There's only 2 bathrooms. Lots of bedrooms. But it's only 2 bathrooms, okay? All right? So basically, you're going to have that man and really that man and 1 wife. These 2 bedrooms have to be converted to bathrooms if you needed to, expand upon your family. So a lot of things over there, a lot of structures, will have to be torn down, walls knocked down, a lot of renovation going on. That's why a lot of my team members that I'll be looking for, they'll have that background, renovation and doing things with, flipping houses, people who've had experience doing these things, because that will have to happen, okay? Because some of these houses are not set up right to facilitate the woman while she's on her menstrual cycle, because she has to be separated to herself during her 7 days, and she can't be coming in contact with nothing, because everything she comes into contact with, she makes it unclean, as it tells you right here in verse number 19. I'm going to read this, and this is going to be the last thing I'll say. And if the woman have an issue, right, and her issue is in her flesh, be blood, her menstrual cycle, right? She shall be put apart 7 days, right? And whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening. You see that right there, okay? So go read this, ladies, Leviticus 15, verses 19 through 30 about your menstrual cycle. Very important that you understand that for those making the aliyah. Because I'm sure y'all just, you're on your period and, you use the bathroom and the next person comes in after you and sits on it. And your children are sitting on it. You can't do that in the land of Israel, man. That's against code, law, statutes, okay? Protocols. We have protocols, okay, that we have to adhere to. All right? So go through here and read this. And like I said, the way they have this stuff set up right here, oh man, it's not conducive to what we need to have happening. There's really only one. This is the best layout I've seen right here. Because there's three bathrooms and there's 3 different bedrooms. But still, that's only conducive to 1 man and 2 wives. That's all you can get in that area. Because each person's got to have their own bathroom. Because this man has access to this bathroom without making himself unclean, as you've seen right here. Okay? And everything that she lieth upon her separation shall be unclean. And everything also she sitteth upon shall be unclean. Okay, you see that? So the children can't come in and use the bathroom after her, or use the bathroom that she's using. They'll have to use the other bathrooms if you have children. Okay? Now I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying and getting the picture of that. Okay? But that's the protocol, the law, the statute of a woman's menstrual cycle when she becomes unclean and how she gets back clean before God. Okay? Yah, the Holy One of Israel. Thank you all for listening. Peace. And y'all bless.